Hey everyone, I'm just going to show you a few little extras that you could do for your story map. Some of you, you need max out your time doing the regular, getting your description slide of your landform region, your vegetation, your climate, and your hazard slide. Then you do it again for your second one. And then at the very end, you'll have your 4 slides from your partner. Your partner's landform, or your 2 partners' landforms will not have any description about the vegetation, climate, or hazards. So if you've got all that done, you want to try some extra little things to get that 4+ kind of mark. Here's some ideas. So first of all, if you click up on settings, you can change the header to have your own special name in there. So I got Mr. White's awesome project. And you can also change the logo. So for instance, right now it's the Esri logo. So what you can do is you can click on a link and, so I'm going to do a little search here for Eden High School logo. As you see here, click on images. And I'm just going to copy that image address. And I think it's here that I put it in. Let's see. Yep, there it is. So now I got the Eden logo up there. There's a couple other things you might want to play around with. There's fonts and themes. You can change the color scheme so that it's different. Oops. So the other really handy thing to do is to highlight particular parts of your map or to change your map. So for instance, let's see here. So just going to edit this, and let's say the Canadian Shield has lots of lakes. What you can do is you can highlight a section of your project, and you can, for instance, click on the little tool here. You can change the content so that you can turn some things off here. And in this case, I can zoom in and take a look at some lakes. Look at all the lakes in the Canadian Shield. And apply. So now when I click on that part of my description, it's like, yeah, take a look. Look at all the lakes there. Another thing you can do is you can change layers. So for instance, let's say you want to talk a little bit more about hazards in your landform region in the, let's see, Appalachians. So once again, I can turn on, let's say, storms, and I'm just going to take a look at the Appalachians here. So there's my basic slide, and of course I put my YouTube video down here, but let's say inside of this slide, I would like to highlight, oh, I know, I didn't fix the pop-up. One sec here. All right. So let's say I want to highlight a particular storm. So let's say I want, oh yeah, look at this thing right here. There's a hurricane. Perfect. So I could say in here, hurricanes are the biggest threat. So what I can do is I can highlight this, or I can just highlight hurricanes, click on my little button here, and what I can do is do custom location, zoom right in to show that this is where one of the hurricanes came in, and I'm going to click on the pop-up to highlight that hurricane. So now, when I go to that slide, there's the general look, but if I click on hurricanes, voila, it zooms right in and takes a look at that. The last thing you can do is that filtering. I had suggested if you go back to your original map, the web map, what you can do is I would suggest to make a copy of your physiographic layer. Just that if you mess around with it, it's going to screw up your first couple of slides. So I'm just going to make a copy of it. There we are. So physiographic regions, hit the three little dots, make a copy. I turn off the original physiographic regions. So let's say I've got the interior plains and the Cordillera as my two places I want to highlight. So I'm going to add another expression here. I've got interior plains, and the other one is going to be the Cordillera. I have to make sure I change this from the first one to the second one, and then apply the filter. And now just those two landforms are highlighted. But I also would like to make them transparent so I can see through them. So I'm going to click on this Change Style tool. I'm going to increase the transparency to about 50%. I really don't like the dull tan color, so I'm just going to click on the interior plains here. I'm going to make them a nice red color. And I don't like the name Cordillera, so I'm just going to change it to Western Cordillera. And I'll change that to a brighter color, which is going to be purple. All right, so now I click OK, done. I have to make sure that I go back to my original settings, so I'm going to turn off that new layer, turn this one on, save it. And when I go back to my story map, make sure you save it. Okay, so just going to save it here. And now when I click on refresh, it's going to reload that map and the new layer will be accessible. So let's see here. Unfortunately, I'm looking at the Appalachians. I have any interior plains. Oh, Western Cordillera, there we are. So I'm just going to edit this. And I'm going to turn on that new layer that I just made, the copy. And the great thing is now I can see through and I can see all the disasters that are there. All right, so some tips. Feel free to try them. If you don't have time, that's okay.